If you're between 15 and 18, hitting the gym, chasing muscle, and thinking protein powder is your shortcut, pause. Because what you're about to hear might save you from making a mistake. Thousands of teens are making right now. Some protein powders are safe, some are unnecessary, and some, they can slowly affect your digestion, your skin, your kidneys without you even realizing it. And here's the real problem. Most teenagers don't even know if they need it in the first place. So before you buy that tub, before you take that first scoop, let's break down what's actually happening inside your body. This is The Health Reason, where we follow science, not trends. Subscribe now because your health deserves facts, not hype. Let's begin. Point 1. Do teenagers even need protein powder? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The fitness industry has convinced teenagers that protein powder equals muscle. It doesn't. Your teenage body is already in one of the most anabolic phases of your life. Growth hormone levels are naturally elevated. Testosterone is increasing. Recovery speed is higher than in adulthood. Your body is biologically designed to grow. And this is exactly what most supplement marketing ignores. They make it sound like your body is lacking something, like you're behind, like you need external help just to keep up. But biologically, that's not accurate. Muscle protein synthesis, the process that builds muscle, is primarily triggered by resistance training, not by supplements. When you lift weights, you create microscopic muscle damage. Your body repairs that damage stronger. That's growth. Protein supports the repair. It doesn't cause it. And here's where things get even more important. The average teen needs roughly 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. That requirement increases slightly with intense athletic training, but not dramatically. Most American teens who eat a standard diet already consume adequate protein without realizing it. What's happening instead is overconsumption, driven by fear of not growing fast enough. But muscle growth has a ceiling per day. Your body can only utilize a certain amount of protein for muscle repair within a 24-hour window. Beyond that, additional intake doesn't accelerate growth. It becomes energy or gets stored. More is not better. Better is better. Structured training, progressive overload, recovery, sleep quality, and that leads directly to the next layer of this discussion. If it's not necessary for most teens, then is it at least completely safe? Point 2. Is whey protein actually safe for teens? High-quality whey protein is generally considered safe. But the word safe requires context. Safety doesn't mean universal benefit. It doesn't mean required. And it certainly doesn't mean unlimited use. Let's go deeper. Whey protein is derived from milk during the cheese-making process. It contains essential amino acids, particularly leucine, which stimulates muscle protein synthesis. That's why it's popular. But concentration changes impact. When you isolate protein and consume it rapidly in powdered form, digestion dynamics shift compared to whole foods. The insulin response can be sharper. The absorption rate is faster. The metabolic load increases. In moderation, the body handles this well. In excess, it creates stress. Kidneys filter nitrogen waste from protein metabolism. In healthy individuals, this isn't dangerous. But unnecessary high intake increases filtration demand. There is no advantage in pushing biological systems beyond what's required. Then there's product variability. The U.S. supplement industry is regulated differently than pharmaceuticals. That means product purity can vary. Third-party testing certifications like NSF or Informed Choice matter, but most teens never check. Add to that artificial sweeteners in high amounts, which may impact gut health in some individuals. And suddenly just protein isn't always just protein. The real issue isn't whey itself. It's blind consumption without understanding the dose, need, or quality. And that brings us to consequences. Because overuse doesn't always look dramatic, it often looks subtle. Point 3. Possible side effects in teens. Side effects often develop gradually. Digestive discomfort is the first sign. Rapid protein intake can overwhelm digestion, especially when taken without adequate hydration. Many teens already underconsume water. Add high protein intake, and gastrointestinal strain increases. Then comes metabolic imbalance. High protein intake without balanced carbohydrates can reduce training performance. Muscles rely on glycogen, stored carbohydrates, for energy. If teens prioritize protein excessively and neglect carbs, strength output drops. And when performance drops, frustration increases. Another overlooked factor is nutrient displacement. When protein shakes replace meals, teens lose fiber, antioxidants, micronutrients, and phytonutrients found in whole foods. Over time, this affects gut health and immune resilience. Now consider body composition misunderstanding. When protein shakes add 200-300 extra calories daily, and training stimulus doesn't match that intake, fat gain can occur. Teens often misinterpret this as bulking success, when in reality it's caloric surplus without proportional muscle adaptation. The body operates on balance. Too little protein limits growth. Too much protein without structure disrupts balance. And the final layer is behavioral dependence. When teens believe progress depends on a product, intrinsic discipline weakens. That psychological reliance often matters more than the biological impact, which leads to the final critical question. When is supplementation actually appropriate? Point 4. When should a teen consider protein powder? Protein powder should solve a specific problem, not act as default behavior. Appropriate use cases include structured, athletic programs with high weekly training volume, caloric deficits where maintaining lean mass is critical, or medically supervised nutritional gaps. But even in these situations, dosage precision matters. One measured scoop post-workout can help convenience. Multiple daily shakes rarely provide additional benefit unless caloric needs are extremely high. And here's the principle that applies universally. Foundation first. Macronutrient balance drives performance. Micronutrients drive recovery. Hydration drives circulation and nutrient transport. Sleep drives hormonal repair. If those pillars are unstable, supplementation cannot compensate. Teenage physiology is resilient. Muscle adaptation occurs efficiently when resistance training is progressive and consistent. Most teens underestimate the power of simply adding 5 pounds to a lift over time. Slow progression builds sustainable strength. Rapid supplementation without structure builds inconsistency. So before adding powder, evaluate. Are you sleeping enough? Are you training with intent? Are you tracking food accurately? Are you progressively overloading? If the answer is no, protein powder is not the solution. If the answer is yes, and intake is still insufficient, then moderate supplementation can be reasonable. Supplements are strategic tools, not automatic requirements, and that perspective protects long-term health. Here are some tips for my viewers. Here's the final takeaway. Protein powder is a tool, not a requirement, not a shortcut, not a magic formula. Your teenage years are your biological advantage. Your hormones are naturally optimized. Your recovery is naturally faster. Your muscle-building potential is already elevated. Don't rush the process chasing hype. Build your base first. Eat real food consistently. Train with progression. Sleep 7-9 hours. Hydrate aggressively. Stay patient, because strength built naturally lasts longer, and confidence built through discipline feels different. If you ever use supplements, use them intelligently, minimally, and with awareness. Your future health is more valuable than temporary gains. This is the health reason, and where science speaks louder than trends. Subscribe if you choose facts over hype. I'll see you in the next one.